What is good, Crypto Paradise fam? I'm Crypto Amaru. We got Crypto Hitman in the house. It is Monday, October 7th. We're doing a little market update, market analysis, talking about what's coming up that may move the markets one way or another. Some of the catalysts or negative catalysts we've seen in the recent past as well. So, look, the market has rebounded a little bit from last week. Bitcoin up a bit today, Ethereum up a bit today. First of all, what do you think was the cause of the crash from last week, and then what are some of the things you're looking at going forward?
Well, I think in the last show, we talked about some of the causes. I think a lot of that was Iran bombing Israel and global unrest and global uncertainty. There was a couple other things we talked about in there as well. So definitely watch that other video. Now, from a technical perspective, we dropped right onto the 200 and 300 moving average. We bounced off of that. And you really need to take out that previous high that we made like Friday, September 27th, above that 66,500 level before we're kind of in the clear again and can try to rally. Until then, a lot of people are talking about this could just be a B of a ABC down, meaning you get a relief rally here and you go down once again. So we're gonna see here, but overall things look pretty good. Everything's looking pretty healthy. We're seeing lower highs on a lot of assets such as Pepe and Floki and Doge, and a lot of these are not going to new lows, which is always a good sign if you want to see the bull market start. And really this rally here, I don't know if there's a ton of news about why this rally is going up. I know in the poly market, Trump has taken the lead again by 4% over Harris, at least on the betting line. We all know that Trump, RFK Jr., and Elon is pro crypto, so that's good. But do you know of any other positive news that's come out for crypto that might be causing this little bit of a bounce here rather than just standard technical analysis?
Yeah, so I just want to rewind to last week. I think the big reason for that crash was like you mentioned, the unrest or war in the Middle East. And what we're seeing is that Bitcoin, despite what a lot of people want you to believe or what they may believe themselves, it's still viewed of as a risk asset. And in times of global unrest, you often see risk assets sell off first, but they also rise quickly once that situation is resolved. And it looks like the situation is at least temporarily sort of, I guess, back to the status quo. We'll see if and when Israel retaliates, and to the extent that they do retaliate. If it's relatively minor retaliation, I think we're back in the clear from a market perspective. If it's more heavy-handed than people were expecting, then maybe then people are expecting Iran to retaliate again, and that becomes a more worrisome situation. But overall, I'm not terribly concerned because my outlook is long-term time horizon. These global macro events tend to resolve themselves in a matter of days or weeks. People move on to the next thing. They're already looking forward to the next, whether that could be potentially Trump winning the election or some other upcoming catalyst. So that was last week. This week, we'll see how quiet or how not quiet it gets out there in the Middle East. But another catalyst that has not gotten a lot of press, but may actually have a positive impact on Bitcoin, is that BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager of the world, 10 trillion under management. They have the biggest Bitcoin ETF out there. They have applied to the SEC for to be able to, for their customers to be able to trade the Bitcoin ETF using options. So some people may think that this is a negative. What I've been reading is this is actually a positive because it will allow Wall Street firms and other more sophisticated investors just different ways to get involved and engage with Bitcoin and speculate on Bitcoin, which should drive up the demand for that ETF product and therefore drive up demand for Bitcoin itself. So that's actually apparently that decision from the SEC should be out in a matter of weeks, whether they approve it or not. And it looks like it will be approved. That's what a lot of the talking heads are saying. So that's an unappreciated catalyst that potentially could help us here in the near term. But the reality is, look, this election is 1 month away to the day. So it's
Yeah.
really not that long. And I think, honestly, no matter who wins, it's going to at least provide some clarity. Markets don't like uncertainty. There's probably people sitting on the sidelines, whether it's Trump or whether it's Harris, that are saying, all right, we're just going to wait to see how this plays out. And I'm going to place capital. I'm going to get back in the markets after the election. Normally, that is what happens. The election happens, and then markets have a chance to rally. So obviously, we know Trump's better for Bitcoin, I don't think Harris will be catastrophic. I think we may even see an uptrend no matter what. So that's only a month away. So you just got to, hang tight here and let these catalysts play out.
Yeah, I would agree there. And as far as the BlackRock thing, obviously it spurs more trading volume and maybe some more interest. Overall, I don't really like options or futures, especially for Bitcoin. We're in these things because they're a finite supply asset. Spot ETFs are great because they got to own the underlying. Once they involve options, the people in the funds and the bankers, they can make money on all the volatility and they're going to hedge their bets. Okay, we get spot long here, we go 3x short here, blah blah blah. But for the average Joe, that's not really beneficial to us in the market itself, and that just means it's less paper or more paper Bitcoin out there versus holding in the spot ETF. So short-term catalyst in my opinion, but really doesn't benefit the retail individual more than institutions allowing to trade that and kind of hedge their bets. Maybe that means they can buy more Bitcoin spot ETF because now they can hedge with short side option plays if they are wrong on the outlook of Bitcoin. So maybe that's the one bullish catalyst is, hey, they can go harder in the Bitcoin spot ETF because they can hedge that with the short options. That's a possibility, but we'll see what happens there. I know a lot of people are talking about it. And yeah, I mean, status quo into these 30 days. We'll see what happens. We've talked about what we think will happen depending on the winner of the presidential election. So I don't think we've changed on that at all. But I think the things that are moving more than just this plus minus 2, 3, 5%, some activity in the space is a lot of the meme coins that we talk about. A lot of the small caps and micro caps are moving and making some gains for their holders. Do you want to talk about a little bit of some of those, maybe Mellow Man or Dubcat or PTGC, Whiskey, any of those? You want to touch base on those and how they're doing?
Well, I think in general, memes have been shown to be a serious, serious part of the market. They're more fair to retail compared to investing in projects that have, heavy VC backing. They're launched in a fair launch manner. All the tokens are in circulating supply at the time of the launch. And retail likes them. They're not confusing. They're just simple, fun, community oriented, price go up, happy, joy, joy. So I think memes are going to lead this cycle. I think they're going to be a big bright spot. And we normally see, as a matter of fact, when the market finally does get an uptrend going, memes lead the charge. And then beyond that, if you look historically, if you consider there to be two phases of the cycle, kind of the early bull phase, and then the second half of the parabolic phase of the bull run. We already had the early bull phase. We're kind of, that was 2024. We're in it now, although we've had a 6-month basically chopper downtrend. But in that phase, that early bull phase, memes were leading the way. And so history says that whatever was leading the way in the first phase is going to lead the way in the second. So if you're in memes, if you're in ones with good communities, good narrative, they're active, they're decentralized in terms of their holder base, they're going to do well. And I think there's going to be a lot of bright spots in the meme world, including the Mellows, including Kai Ken, including Whiskey, including Dubcat, including all the ones we've talked about. We're bullish on those, as you guys know. But memes overall, I think are going to lead the way this second half of this cycle.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Also, we are talking about Pulse Chain and the potential breakout it had last show we did. That did break out of the ascending triangle up 10%. Richard Hart has his big case against the SEC October 31st. And many of you maybe aren't in Pulse Chain or you don't care about Richard Hart or Hex and you don't see why it is important. Well, the reason it is important is because this isn't a case just for Richard Hart and Hex. He is going to be touching base from 11 different lawyers on various topics talking about cryptocurrency and various crypto assets. So the outcome of this case will directly affect the outlook for future crypto regulation under the current administration, under their current SEC guidelines. So if Richard Hart pulls out a win, yes, Pulse Chain and the Hex will outperform, but it will lay the guideline and you will start to see people speculate on what that means for other tokens and other layer 1 and layer 2 scaling solutions in the space. So that could be another catalyst that is coming up right around the corner. That is 3 weeks from today.
I'd love to see that. I think we may see some changes in the SEC. Outside of the Richard Hart case, we may see some changes coming, whether that's a Harris or Trump administration. But as to the Trump side, basically news dropped. I guess it's more of a rumor than news, but it sounds like Trump, should he win, will be putting in a new SEC commissioner, and that person will be he's currently the head of the legal department at Robinhood.
Mm-hmm.
So going to be very pro innovation, tech forward, light on regulation. I think overall very bullish for crypto should that happen. So fingers crossed. And then we'll see if Kamala, if she wins, do they keep Gensler in there? Gensler has not a lot of fans. Almost nobody likes him, it seems. He's going on these hearings and stuff at Congress. He's getting bullied by Republicans and Democrats. It seems like everybody hates him. So my guess is he's out. He'll leave regardless of whether it's Trump or Kamala in. But yeah, if Trump wins and they put in the Robin Hood guy, ultra bullish.
Yeah, and ultimately, we're on this show, we're, talking about these topics a little flat today because the market is just doing what it's doing. But I just saw a breakdown of the gains per sector for 2024. And what do you know? Bitcoin is the biggest gainer for a sector out of any other sector at like 44% for the year of 2024, beating out large cap, mid cap, small cap growths, beating out bonds, beating out the USD, beating out really any major sector that is investable assets. So, although it feels slow and it feels like a bear market and sideways chop, whatever it may be, Bitcoin's still up 40 something percent. And this number 2 out of all of it was like 15 different sectors, is at like 34%. So trailing Bitcoin by 10%. So I think you got to understand, yes, our dopamine isn't hitting right now the way it normally does, but we still are outperforming traditional markets and really any other investable asset that you could have been in. And then we all know if you would have held the dollars, you're looking at 20% inflation over the past 4 years. So that would have been a loser too. So being in Bitcoin is still the play. Being long on crypto assets has still been the play. If you've avoided rugs, you are outperforming anybody else in traditional markets.
Yeah, that's right on track. That 44% is right on track with the historical gains for Bitcoin each and every year, but you have to hold through the volatility. That's the key, right? If you sell on the dumps or whatever the case may be, you're not in the markets anymore, you're not going to see those incredible returns. So, that's first thing. Second thing is, it's important, I think, to have Bitcoin as a part of anyone's portfolio. I know we talk about altcoins a lot, memes, utility plays, and those are all fine and good, and those can really outperform when the market gets crazy. But to not have any Bitcoin, I think would be a mistake. It's good to have a diversified portfolio, because when your alts are down, you look and your Bitcoin's doing well, you feel good. You don't feel you need to panic sell. You don't feel you need to take any unnecessary risks. You're in a good spot mentally because your portfolio is intact despite underperformance in some sectors. So yeah, have some Bitcoin, be diversified. It is the best performing asset class over the past 10 years.
Yep. I don't think that trend ends anytime soon. Institutions are just now getting involved. We're seeing more and more countries get involved. They continue. El Salvador buys every single day. Argentina's getting involved. So I don't think Bitcoin's going anywhere. I don't think the crypto outperformance is getting anywhere. Now, is it still quote unquote the wild, wild west? Is it harder than investing in stocks? Sure. But with that extra risk comes potential extra rewards. And like Ian just said, Bitcoin 44% a year on average. Stock market on average is like 8 or 10%. So I think you're in a good spot, and I don't think that ends with this cycle at all.
That's why you turn into crypto paradise, guys. We give you the real talk, give you some positive things to think about as this market is a little bit boring, a little sideways here, but that's going to end at some point. It's just a matter of time. I mean, remember a few weeks ago we were pumping and it was all good, and then of course the Iran-Israel conflict rears its ugly head again, and so we're a little bit of a downtrend, but it's going to be fine. You got to hold through the volatility. That's just the name of the game, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the end of this year for sure.
Yeah, I think that's it. Make sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Leave in the comment section what topics you want us to cover. Was there any news that we missed? We were looking for news. There wasn't much news really out there, and just general market movement. So, your comments can actually directly impact what we film here on long form and short form videos, and we want to give you the content that you deserve.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you on the beach.